Okay, guys, we're here with David from Automotive Press. Go check out his YouTube channel, link in the description down below. And David, we are somehow in Ginza Square in Tokyo at the Nissan showroom. Yes. And I want to talk to you about Nissan specifically.
Sure, of course, yeah.
We've seen this brand have a lot of challenges domestically in the United States. There was a quarter last year where their profit fell 99% globally because they were spending so much money on incentives, for example. They just did some layoffs in factories. What's your professional take on what's going on with this storied Japanese brand?
Right. Yeah, so first of all, really cool to be with you here in Japan, in Tokyo, and at the Nissan corporate showroom here.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I just want to go back some years back when I was growing up in Japan. Toyota was the name brand, but Nissan was the cool brand. Whether it's the
we got some
Nissan,
cool cars around.
We have cool cars here as well. But whether it's the original Z, or we had a Nissan Silvia back in those days. Also, Nissan introduced like really cool niche, low volume cars like Nissan Figaro, Nissan Escargot. Those really weird cars. I don't know if you know this, but they look like a snail. One of them looks like a snail. One looks like a anime car. And so they used to do some really cool things.
Yeah.
So we actually love Nissan for branding, for being unique in the marketplace. But as you know, over time they've gone through many financial struggles, many also executive changes, and this is where they are today. But a couple of things. I think Nissan has a long way to go in terms of surviving. I will not count them out yet because it's a major company with potential investment from other companies.
True.
Whether it's Honda or not, it's hard to say. But I think they're here to stay. But this is probably the worst part of their history because they've gone through so many changes. They lost some executives. They don't know what to do with the product, and they're, I think, like almost in a black hole sort of thing. Yeah. But if they can sort this out and survive this part, they could emerge as a very cool company again. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah.
Because they have potential to do something that, let's say, Toyota wouldn't do because they're more conservative, they're more careful.
That makes sense.
But right now, as it stands, yes, with 11,000 people, I think, being announced to be laid off. Potentially 7 factories or more. I mean, it looks terrible.
It looks dire. It looks dire. And it's fascinating because obviously in the United States, we talk a lot about, at least on the CarEdge channel, the affordability crisis. And there are two brands in particular, two Japanese brands in particular that I think address the affordability crisis quite well. Nissan and Mitsubishi. We actually work at CarEdge. Go check out our website and everything. We work with these OEMs and they call us all the time saying, hey, can you help us sell more Nissans and Mitsubishis? You know who we don't work with? Toyota. Toyota doesn't need our help. Honda doesn't really need our help. And so it's fascinating to me that the cool brand, right? The cool brand Nissan, I don't know if Mitsubishi falls into the cool brand category, but they're definitely more affordable.
They were very cool before
they were
as well.
The Evo, it's so fascinating to me that they're struggling as much as they are. The big layoffs, the manufacturing plants shutting down. And so it's interesting to think, like, where will they go moving forward? And we know there are, even at the dealer level, David, big manufacturer incentives to the dealers to increase volume. That was like a new program, a stair-step program that came back recently. So it's tough to really see where it's going to go. But obviously, not going to go away overnight.
So, I hate to bring politics in play, but obviously their former executive and CEO, Carlos Ghosn, who I met many times. I probably met him at least 20 times during different interviews and auto shows. I mean, regardless of what he might have done in terms of financial misconduct. I mean, he was spearheading the strategy and business decision at Nissan that obviously worked for Nissan for many, many decades. And then whether his departure had anything to do with it, may be up for question. But definitely as he departed and as the executive decisions were made, they made some mistake. They chose to cut costs and not invest into a new product development. So they're not introducing cool product or cars that people want to buy. And that's what we're seeing right now.
I can already see the comments. People are going to say it's the CVT transmission. Like that, I can already see the people writing those comments right now, that's another part of the downfall of Nissan, things like that. Do you think that played a role?
Yeah, I think so. Not just the CVT, but there's a whole bunch of other engineering mechanisms that were not doing well. But they're replacing CVT with many regular transmission, not just Nissan, but other car companies are doing the same thing. Also, they designed some new powertrain that didn't work out in the beginning in terms of quality and so forth. But I think those days are gone, and I think Nissan is making the right decisions now. So if they can somehow survive the financial struggles they have now and the burden, they can come ahead as again, once again, the cool, more of a niche car manufacturing company that can produce cool cars at a reasonable price, cars that people want to buy. And I'm just really hoping that the senior executive will make decisions based not just on financial matters, but make decisions that's right for the customer, so that they build cars that people want to buy, right? That's ultimately what it is. You know, like Nissan Rogue is one of the best-selling cars they have because it's kind of like a RAV4 counterpart. It makes sense to produce cars like that because you know people want that type of car. But on the other hand, you know how many people are buying Nissan Z, which is a beautiful model.
Beautiful, don't get me wrong, beautiful,
Yeah, but it doesn't add to profitability. And it doesn't help with anything else, right? So they're going to have to make some very important decisions. I'm hoping that they're going to be able to do that without sacrificing what they stand for, which I think again is a bit more cool in terms of character compared to something like Toyota.
Well, hey, what a privilege to be here, to have this conversation, to be in their facilities. Hopefully, a year from now, we'll still be able to do the same thing, and I'm pretty sure for decades to come, Nissan will be around.
I wouldn't count them out yet. I think they're about to rise from the ashes. The new president, Nissan. Which is he's a car person, and he's already announced that he's going to revive the Nissan GTR that's right behind here.
Beautiful car,
because they announced that they're going to discontinue this, but they're going to revive this with a new model. He said they're going to bring back some other legendary nameplates like a Nissan Silvia, which is cars that we loved when I was growing up in Japan. So if he can pull that off and bring some interesting cars and do it with efficiency and have a optimized supply chain, they could be very successful over the next several years. So I'm hoping for that because we don't want to see anyone fail in our industry. But we'll have to wait and see.
Let us know in the comments down below what you think about Nissan. Obviously, our community is very opinionated about this, so I'm curious to read those comments. And David, thank you for your time as always. Check out David's channel, Automotive Press. Thanks, you, David.
You're welcome.